And welcome to an exciting adventure on writing, or actually on the energy that surrounds us. I'm your host, Michael, and you'll just have to forgive me because my guest tonight is a regular on Writing Through the Unknown and has been asking to share her paranormal experiences. And so tonight we've thought, what better thing than during this holiday season to share some ghostly paranormal fun?
Or
And
just weirdness.
so there you go. So I am going to announce that my guest is an amazing reader, a seer, a contactee, and an experiencer. And so you guys are in for a huge treat. We always have fun when we're on. And so tonight will be no different. So I give you the one, the only, my wonder twin sis, Erica Amoreena.
Thank you for having me on your show again. No, I
You're
still can't remember.
welcome.
What's the name of this show? Energy
The
that
energy
surrounds.
that surrounds us.
Right there, okay. But yeah, thank you for having me on.
Yes, and you wanted to share something about our guest who unfortunately was not able to make it.
Yeah. So the certain people are being targeted really bad right now. So Lisa wasn't able to make it. Instantly at 6:30 tonight, her and her entire family at exactly 6:30 p.m. spiked a fever just out of the blue. She said she went from being absolutely normal to all of them just unable to move. It's really bizarre. I think it was an attack though, because she was really looking forward to coming on.
Well, we'll have to have her back on another time, and I'm hoping that she's feeling better and her family gets better as well.
Okay, so you were gonna ask me questions because I have so many like experiences, I can't remember one. So you're gonna have to ask me. So I started working in the paranormal when I was 17 because I always saw everything. And I write about that in my book. But always being able to see spirits on people, entities. I didn't trust humans because humans would come up to me and I would see entities on them and it would scare the hell out of me. Like, why do you want to talk to Uncle so and so? Well, I would see creatures or weird monsters or weird, some of them look like octopus, but they're always black. And some people were run by these things. So I didn't know what was going on as a child. It was so confusing. Did you ever see that when you were little?
I saw shadow people, and I would get a feeling around certain people, but I didn't know what it was because funny thing for me was I grew up always hearing that women have intuition, guys don't. And so I didn't know what to call that what I was feeling until later in life I found out guys have
The same.
intuition as well. And so I was like, okay, so it was
Who told
my
you that?
intuition.
Who told you that though? Like,
I think it was probably adults that I would talk to that they'd always
I'm
be like,
sorry. They were minimizing you. I'll beat them up.
so just out of curiosity, what was your aha moment that you realized there was a lot more to this world than met the eye, like the unexplained, that got you to want to investigate it?
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of ones that I can say on air.
Hey, I asked, so you can answer.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of something that I can say without getting your show in trouble. I was young. I was in high school. Um, okay. So I was so haunted. Starting in like 7th grade. And this, when I was young, it was all the time. As I grew up and, the adults and social situations in school tell you that you're not seeing anything real, or because I always saw ghosts, or they told me that I was hallucinating, that I was evil. My parents sent me to counseling. They sent me to like Christian schools, but it was just because I saw, and because I could see through the veil. So I think the first really big one was I was sick one night with a fever, and it was usually fevers because it brings you into the in-between state of life and death, and it like opens a psychic doorway. But I remember I was in like 6th grade, and I was waiting for my mom to get some medicine, and I opened my eyes just burning up, and there were a line of people from the side of my bed out my door all the way down my hallway. I mean, I got up to look. They were waiting in line to come ask me for help. I didn't know what it meant. At this time, this was in the early 80s. We didn't have internet. We didn't have books on ghosts. Like my dad had was the Encyclopedia Britannica. I kept looking in there for like ghosts and witch stuff, and like there was never anything paranormal. So I guess they're right. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe I am evil. But my only mistake was just telling my mom what I saw. Because if I wouldn't have told her, it would have been okay. I probably could have just helped them. But when she found out, it scared the hell out of her. She sent me straight into Christian school and counseling. And there was nothing wrong with me. I could just see things.
I just want to take a moment and just remind viewers that as much as it's in kind of like what we would call mainstream talk now, when Erica and I were younger, because I can say this because we're both about the same age, so not insulting anybody by going here, but this was not spoken of. And the thought of paranormal anything, there were a few people doing it, but it wasn't mainstream.
It was taboo
until
at the time.
1984 when Ghostbusters came out, and then all of a sudden everybody was, there's ghosts. Wait, what? And
Yeah.
so when we're talking like before 84, yeah, we had to keep it to ourselves because there was no support
Well,
system.
we didn't even have an idea of what we were seeing. Nobody teaches you what the fuck? Why is there a line of people? Wow, you just made my picture big and it got me dizzy. Thanks. As I grew up, I remember after that I would be driving. I was learning to drive, and it was horrible because I would see people that got hit standing in the freeway because they would want my help, but then my car would go right through them. And so many times I almost crashed because I thought I was hitting someone that wasn't, but I didn't hit anyone. So, and then in high school, oh my gosh, in my high school, I can't even repeat some of the stuff I saw, but I mean, I have a feeling that the high school that I went to, that I'm going to say this as purely as I can. I have a feeling that it was used as a meeting place for not good people to do not good things, that worshipped not good entities. I'll say it.
Yeah.
So being at school during the day, I would see these things superimposed over my classroom, and some of them were so horrific I would pass out. My teachers all thought I was on drugs, but I always passed the drug test. I was fine. Like, I wasn't on drugs. But what did they started calling me names? Even my teachers would call me names because I would have such strong visions. I would scream in the middle of class, or I'd pass out, or it wasn't fun. You really get labeled crazy, especially back then when no one knows what to do with you.
Boy, I wonder what life would have been like if we had crossed paths back then. But I do have a surprise for you, Erica.
Is that good or bad? Yes, it is. I love that. I love that. I love that.
One of
You
my favorite quotes.
really should make that your bottom line right here, because fear kills everything. Fear doesn't really exist. Fear was taught to us to control us. If we were living through the natural laws, the natural way of being, we would have no fear, no issues with fear. And it's what these entities that we see, those shadow people that you saw in your room. There you go. Shadow people that and even my grandkids see it. My kids saw those. They're not always negative. Some of them are people checking on us. Some of them are watchers that are supposed to just watch what's going on on the planet. There's like Hat Man, and then the one with the red eyes. They feed off of your fear, but they're not. It's all technology. It's all. I mean, and I'll call dark magic or the occult technology. Everything is a technology in itself, but all these things that it's the reason why they have all these scary movies now, is because they're trying to get us to really believe that fear is, the more fear that they can like put into humanity, the more they can feed off us. It makes me sick.
Yeah. And so.
Oh, wow. Wow, how cool.
And that's really cool that you got to see it go in and out of the ocean. Not many people see it do
An hour and
that.
a half, yeah. When I lived in Pacific Grove, right on the water, and if you are right on the ocean, yes, exactly. If you are right on the ocean, you can see a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on over the ocean at night that I won't talk about because it's just so woo out there, but it's like everyone that lives there knows that it's real.
Are you by the Catalina Island?
Huh?
Are you by the Catalina Islands?
No, that's south, and that's off of LA area, or even or Santa Barbara area, I think.
I was just curious because there's like an underground UFO base there, and so it was just.
Oh yeah, I went. I went for a vacation with a girlfriend, and we brought our daughters to Catalina, and yeah, there's off limits places, but we took our bikes, and there's a whole base there, and no good, no bueno.
And so, Do you think these paranormal experiences that you had growing up and through high school, that they helped forge you into the seer and helper that you are today, and the reader?
I think always being able to see that stuff helps me as a reader, but I don't believe that they forged me. I think what forged me into wanting to help people was finding out that there's more than the paranormal out there, and they actively want to hurt humanity. And that's what drives me to do what I do now, and to clear people of that. And to, like, when I have clients, it's not just a light session. I'm not just telling them when their next job is, or when they're going to fall in love. I'm literally, interacting with someone who's got probably either entity attachments or inner child that is still traumatized. What happens when we have trauma, say at age 5, is that 5-year-old stays inside of us, and they're still scared. And so there's that, it stays with you forever, and you can keep trying to stuff those down, but eventually it will destroy your life. So what I do is go in with clients, and we go into those moments where they felt fear and terror, and we change it at that time so that when we come back to the present, that reaction isn't there anymore. There is no past and future. Everything is always happening right now. So if I can go in, and the way I do this is I merge myself with the client, not leaving any residue behind, but it's almost like a plasmic consciousness. Lisa could explain this better. Lisa, where are you? But you can merge with the person, and what I can see is that person's divine blueprint before the matrix got involved, before, like how God intended them. That's what I see when I have a client across from me. I see their physical body and their emotional body and their light body and their astral body as God intended, and I do what I can to bring it back into that perfect state. Does that make sense?
It does. It's like what we call in Reiki doing a scan, is we can see the energetic body and see where there are blockages or
Right.
implants that are interfering.
Right. So I do the same thing with implants, etheric implants, entities, dark entities, spirits, grays, reptilians, whatever there is, because we are all food at this point. So I like to get everyone cleared.
And just think, you don't have to be a vegetarian to get put on the slab. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist that joke. Anywho,
Anywho.
so when you're doing readings, do you call in a certain group to work with, or do you have a certain group that steps up and is like, we're going to help you through this process with this person, or does it vary based on the people?
I'm thank you for asking me that, because I actually can answer that now. So what I do is, how do I explain this? I've always been connected to my highest self. So I have an open connection with my highest self. My highest self has an open connection to unity consciousness, where all the information of everywhere, everything exists. the Akashic records have false information in them. So I'm not talking about the Akashic records. I'm talking about going all the way up into your highest self and being part of the unified field. So that's where I work from. Now, what was your question again? Because I want to
Well,
answer it.
some people will say, I have guides or say
Okay.
Lyrans that come in to help me with
Yeah.
everything. I was asking who works with you and how it's determined.
So it depends, like you said, it depends on the severity of the situation and it depends on the client. So my highest self will merge with their highest self because they're asking me for help. So there's no, our highest selves just connect. And they let me know what the person needs at that moment, how far I can go, has, like their higher self will let me know, hey, they're only going to understand you to this level. So be at this level or speak it at this level. But when there's things involved, like they're being harmed by an entity or ghosts or something negative, my highest self is connected to all my star family. And so at this point, and in the past, I used to call in my dragon or I would call in my big cats to go do stuff. But since embodying my high self, all I need to do is lean in and say, you know who I am. You need to go. And they go. Because I do know who I am and I'm not afraid. And I speak from experience. I'm not just throwing that out there. I'm talking directly to the entity. Another thing that is weird, and I wrote about this in my book, was I was always able to hear psychically what beings would do, what we're planning to do with me, even if it was like parasitic thought forms, ghosts, entities. They can read our mind, but it was like the moment they would get me, I could cord them back and know what their intentions were. So having that ability, like if you were my client, I would be looking at you, but I would be talking to the entity and telling it where it can go and what it can do. And then I have the person get involved with me because it's, so yeah, it depends. One time I did have to call in the big guns and it got violent, but it's always successful. And I'm very grateful because my team actually does get things done, whether it's just me. I call my team my highest self as part of my team too. I wonder if I should say we or if that would be like mental illness. But
No,
did
but
that answer your question?
you did, and it sounds like you have the ability to piggyback on their signals and communicate
Explain
with
that.
them that way. When you were saying that you can hear their thoughts as they're trying to read your thoughts, it's like you're
Yeah.
piggybacking their ability.
Yeah. And so I know exactly what they're planning to do with the person that they're attached to. So I know why they're there. I know what kind of loosh they're getting. I can tell the person, hey, they're feeding off your guilt. They're feeding off your shame. They're feeding off your fear. They're feeding off your regret. Depends on the person. Once we go in and heal that emotional dense wound that the entity has attached to, it has nothing to attach to, and that person's free forever, not temporarily, forever. There are people that are really good at removing entities. Okay, but the entities are going to come back because what they attach to is our wounds, our insecurities, our fears, our self-doubts. And so that's how they stay attached.
Right, because it works in the way of, if you're telling someone you have to stand in your power and tell them to be gone, they have no power anymore, and you just go, okay, be gone. They can read that you don't believe what
Yeah,
you're
if you don't
saying.
believe in yourself,
Yeah,
they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, this one's full of shit. I'm not
they'll
listening."
go, but then they'll come right back because they're like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll let them think they won, but then we'll be back because they don't believe it. So we'll
So I
just
can
go
hear
back.
when they think that. So if they leave, I can hear them saying, "Oh, I'm going to come back at this such and such time." So I'm like, "Okay, I heard them." And I actually get in fights sometimes because they're little asshats. These entities and spirits that hack us are little asshats. They are.
And so we mentioned a term, and I honestly don't know how many people watching this show are familiar with the term. So if you could do a favor and explain the term loosh for those who may not understand what that is.
Loosh is Loosh is okay, so we are creator beings. We are batteries. We are light. We are powerhouses. We are our own generators. We have a soul. We have a flame inside of us that can't be extinguished. Ghosts, entities, archons, demons, grays, reptilians, they don't have their own flame. They don't have their own light. What feeds them and what keeps them alive is lower dense emotions from humans. So if you're really angry a lot, if you're bitter, if you feel shameful, if you feel guilty, you're going to have entities because that is their favorite food. And if you want them gone, start laughing, start loving things, start um, cultivating your own joy. Joy doesn't just come. I had to build my own joy, you know, with everything I went through. You see me laugh now, you know, considering everything I went through, I shouldn't be laughing, but anything is healable. Anything is fixable. But yeah, so loosh is food that feeds entities that don't have a soul.
No, that's really well said. And I think some people needed to hear that because a lot of people will go because they're feeling off or feeling something's not right and will seek. And I'm not attacking mainstream medical, so don't come
Don't
barrage me. But they don't understand it either and misdiagnose and they get no help. And so this way, hopefully, if they're hearing this, they might be able to say, wait a minute, let me try that. Let me bring
maybe
more
I
joy
don't have
in.
depression. Maybe I'm not depressed. Maybe I'm not bipolar. Maybe I don't have such and such depressive disorder. It's always entities. And I tell you, I our psych wards in America are full of star seeds that are just a- attached with entities because they're so pure and they're so light and they're so full of goodness because they're here for the first time and they've come from a pure place. And those are the people that get hit the hardest with these entities. It's not right. It's always the best, most pure people.
Yeah, it does make you wonder how we survive. Or wait, maybe that's a bad way of pointing that we survived. No. Um, and, you know, as we talk about bringing joy, something that Eric and I talk about a lot, even on writing through the unknown, and when we're talking about much deeper and more triggering topics, that you have to have joy and be able to laugh through all of this, because like she said, surviving what we survived, if we couldn't laugh about it now, I don't think we'd be able to help others, and we wouldn't be where we are today. And so, it's, we don't mean it to look like we're kind of like joking and not making
Oh, I'm not.
and making
I told
light of
the
the
client that
subject. We are actually being serious. This is our coping, is we
yeah,
add levity to it so that we don't get stuck in the deep
yep,
emotional.
exactly. I told my client that yesterday. I said, you know, you see me on these interviews, I giggle, I joke, I laugh, but I have to, because I want people to understand that even though all of these horrifying things can happen to a person, you can still come out on top. You can still come out sovereign. You can still heal and find joy again. That's big. That's a big deal. It took me 49, 50 years to realize that I could have joy on this planet. So,
And I mean, talking about all the stuff we've been through, and Erica has put it in her book, I've put it in my books. And so, reading it, it paints a much different picture. But the one thing that I feel confident I can say, and that Erica will agree with, is there's always hope. No matter what is going on, there's always hope. And that spark of hope is where your joy resides. And that joy resides because nobody can take the love inside you away. No matter how much they try, it'll always be there.
the whole reason that the planet was inundated with spirits, entities, all this dark stuff was because they were trying to figure out how to have a soul. They were trying to figure out the archons, the demons. They were trying to figure out, how can we exist without the human, because they need to feed off our negative emotions. And so they torture us trying to find this out. I found out that the Greys, the way they torture people, and I want to say, I think that I'm going to say this on this show. I really feel like a lot of these places that paranormal groups go to that are so haunted, it's not just dead people. I have a feeling that there's ETs involved, like Greys and portals that had opened. And it's not just one thing. It's not just, you can't believe in demons or archons without believing in the Greys or the reptilians, because those are all, it's all kind of the same thing. They're beings that don't have a soul, that they can't make their own light, they can't create, they can't exist without what we naturally have in here. And so they're trying to figure out how to get it. And if they can't get it, they'll extinguish ours. So really, if you're experiencing, if you think that you have seasonal depression or this or that, or you're angry or agitated all the time, it could be an entity. It most likely is.
And the interesting thing is, as paranormal investigators, the one thing that every paranormal investigator will agree upon. And I find this so interesting in retrospect is if you are going to a location, you need to take with you people that you trust because
Oh,
they can determine when something is happening. So if you're, and what we mean by that is if you're going in there and you're all smiles and yes, the energy can get heavy. Yes, you could have experiences in there. But if you all of a suddenly are starting to get your entire personality altered and
or
say instead
thoughts
of
that aren't
being
yours.
jovial, you're becoming more like closed off, quiet, you need someone there to say, wait a minute, we need to take you outside, ground you, clear you off, and then we can go back in if you're up to it or not.
Nobody is
There's
immune. Nobody's
and there's
immune.
no need to be a hero and say,
No,
"Oh, I can do, I can take this on or that on."
no, you don't, because once they're in, these guys can read your mind. Unless you can read minds, don't go messing around with us, because they
Yeah.
know they they know us better than we know ourselves because they have that advantage of reading our minds and our auras. We all have natural protection from these things. However, when we haven't dealt with our trauma, and say your trauma is something that, I'm going to just throw this out there. Say you have I'm trying not to break your rules that you showed me. Hold on, give me a minute. I have to think of a different
You
one.
recently experienced a death. We'll put it that
Yeah,
way.
so yeah, you experience a death at a young age as a 5-year-old. Okay, that 5-year-old is traumatized, and that 5-year-old, that emotional shock that you went through at that age, witnessing that death, stays in your cells. And so you'll have grief and sorrow that never goes away because there's that 5-year-old you that someone needs to go in and say, hey, come here. I know that must have been really scary when so-and-so died. Here, I'm here with you. You were never alone. It's okay. You don't have to be scared anymore. And I do this with my clients because there's so much trauma that's happened to all of us. And when we get those child aspects to come back, when we come out of our session, my client won't have that feeling of sorrow anymore. It'll be gone because we found the source of it. But my point was, those insecurities, those traumas leave holes in our natural protection. And we are in a war for our souls. Forget what the cabal's doing. We're in a spiritual war still. You have to know who you are. You have to know your baseline, your true north, what your natural energy feels like without interference. And you have to memorize that, because then anything that comes along, any interference, you'll know, and you'll be like, be gone. And that's how you're able to keep clear and navigate this very intense, difficult existence on Earth.
And one thing I want to add to that and piggyback off of what she's saying is even the strongest of the strong has an off day, so to speak, to where something can get through your defense.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you've gotten weak. It doesn't mean you let your guard down. It doesn't mean you failed at something. It happens to all of us. The gift of it is how we see it, how fast we see it, and can adapt to it. That's the human spirit. And the human energy is, you know, when something gets through your defenses and you start to feel something. If you can feel it right away, clear it out right away, that is a huge win and a great gift. And if it takes you a week, it's still a gift that you're able to see it, take care of
Yeah.
it, remove
Acknowledge,
it.
acknowledge this is not mine. And I suggest to people, when something comes in your energy field that isn't yours, say, that's not mine out loud. Well, unless people are going to call you crazy, but really, that's not mine. That's not mine. And you'll feel it leave.
Yeah.
These things literally, what Lisa told me tonight, she says that she thinks her fevers came on because last night she saw, ready for this, she saw these, like, remember in Stranger Things, that big squid thing in the sky? She
Yeah.
saw these dark black things, and they were all going through the sky last night. And she said they had tentacles, they were black. And if you are in a state of disempowerment, these things that fly through, they'll find something to feed off of. We just, and I'll say this again, it's so important to know your true north, your true, who are you without the interference? What does your energy feel like without anyone else's in it, you know?
And the beauty of it is you don't have to have people around you constantly. So I will share this experience only because Erica and I have talked about this on other shows. When something is off with Erica, I can pick up on it and we'll reach out to her and be like, hey, what's going on? And she's like, oh, you could sense that. And, we talk about it and move through it. Or if I'm off, she'll message me and goes, are you sure you're okay? And I'll be like, well, I'm dealing with this.
First
And
you're like, I'm fine, and then, well,
yeah, because, still have that quote unquote societal male thing where,
yeah. But
we're
I think
supposed to
what you're
be
saying is that when these things happen, it's okay to ask for help.
right.
They still happen. I mean, even though I teach how to get rid of these things and how to clear yourself, I still get hit. I
Yeah,
still get hit when I'm caught off guard.
and the amazing thing about this is, without giving away too much information, Erica is on the West Coast. I'm in the central US. So, there's more than 1,000 miles between us, but yet energetically, we'll pick up on each other. So
Yeah,
don't feel like your help is those people that are around you
yeah.
constantly.
You
They
can
can
make a
be
phone call.
anywhere.
Yeah, I'll just, like, if I get scared, I'll call, like, if I'm on the road or something, I'll get scared, I'll call you and say, can you watch my back? And he's like, yep. I was
Yeah.
told of 2 paths of human evolving, the second truth. Yes. I don't know about, the 1,000 years already happened. That was in the past.
Yeah. And so,
But wait, let me answer
sorry.
that question. Yes, the archons, the entities have been told that they need to vacate. However, they're kicking and screaming as they go out, and they're really causing a lot of damage. So just keep your eye out. And it's not a good time to go paranormal investigating, Michael Kopf.
I'm not right now, actually. Thank you.
Maybe
Uh,
wait. But anyways, everything's going to change in a few days because we've got Blue Star Kachina visiting.
we do. And this actually leads to Surface Planet Radio 8806's question really well, actually. Third dimension reality versus higher dimensional.
What does that mean?
I think he's viewing when we're talking about the spiritual war that it's on a dimensional level, and yes, we are talking about third
We're
density.
Yeah, we're in the 3D, yet what we're fighting is in the 4th D, the 5th D. So yeah,
Scalar communication. I'm not. I have a little bit of experience with scalar waves, but I I don't
it's
know. Do
kind of
you
like
have
a
more?
it's kind of like a communication, like a telepathy, but with it's just a different way. You choking?
My throat is getting very dry all of a sudden, and
Do you
it's
have a
making me
drink?
cough.
Here.
I
I
normally have a drink, and for some reason, I didn't grab one today.
have two.
Look at her double fisting it.
I'll drink for you.
Actually, that can work. Actually,
There.
that did. It does feel better, actually.
We are all interconnected, and I even found that there's a place in our brain where telepathy, it's not active on hardly anyone yet, but there's a place in our mind that is like a speaker system. I mean, all telepathy goes through the heart. You have to be connected through the heart, but when the rest of the population's DNA comes online, we will be able to actually hear each other, like just like with what are those walkie talkies?
No, the two-way radios, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that when I talk to yeah, it's like that. I'm trying to
And
remember what show we're on.
the veil is thinning, so communication is becoming more active and more activity, which, in full transparency, Erica was sharing a story before we got started, and she wanted to make sure I brought it up. And so I'm thinking now is
Which
a good
one?
time to lead into the Santa Rosa do where there
Oh,
were ash people.
oh gosh. That was another that was actually when I stopped giving readings because I felt like I failed humanity. But this was in Coffee Park, and I don't know if those of you remember, Coffee Park was the first in Santa Rosa was the first DEW attack, and I had really, really close best friends who lived in that neighborhood. I would do house clearings. I was a paranormal psychic. I would go through the house and clear out negative stuff. But these 2 months in this neighborhood, I kept seeing these people made of ashes. And I called them the ash people because they were just people made of ashes, and they kept trying to get my attention. I saw them in 3 different houses. They were coming through the floor. They were like little kids that are like, listen to me, I need to tell you something. But I wasn't listening right. A month later, everything was turned to ash in that neighborhood. And I blamed myself that I didn't understand what I was seeing, and I didn't understand the messages of the ash people. But I guess they were from the future trying to warn me that the whole place was going to burn down. But I stopped doing readings after that because I felt guilty, like I should have, like I could have stopped that, but I couldn't have. That's another program that we get trying to save the world. But after that, then Paradise was hit. I actually have video of what the DW looks like because we were taking pictures of fire that was swirling down like a red tornado, and it would just blow things up. And then it would lift up and that would come down again. And it was reddish pink, like a deep, deep reddish pink. And
Did it look like a fire twister?
It was like a twister, but and they were made of fire, but they were dark red and pink, and they would go up in the sky and they'd come back down and they'd go back up, and you could see that, but you couldn't see where it was coming from. It would just come out of the dark and then it would come down. But I have like a few shots where you can see it, and I need to find that on my 26 million pictures I have, my paranormal rolls.
But it's interesting you point that out, and I don't mean to interrupt your story, but it's, we grew up with science and hearing like there's cyclones, which are twisters over water, or there's tornadoes, which are the twisters on land.
Right.
Never heard fire twister until recently with all the wildfires and everything.
Yeah, because they made it up.
The question, yeah, are they using this term to explain away
their bullshit? Yeah.
And so,
sorry.
Oh, you're fine. And so, what was the Paradise Dew Operation Fire all about? Do you know? Surface Radio 8806 is asking.
I do know. Can I answer on your show, Michael?
You can.
There were very important people who were living there that were going to help humanity.
Oh, she's just talking about the fire twisters.
Yeah, so Paradise, there were people from another planet that were helping humanity, and they lived there, and they were targeted. And it was really messed up. I don't want to go into detail. It's very sad.
No, it is, and I respect that. And Nancy Noonien Kelly has a question for you, talking back about your experience with the Ash people, saying, unless you're well versed in that kind of happening, how would you recognize it? And she says, I think she's meaning to say you didn't fail anybody.
It was just hard because it was my best friend's house, and I had to watch her suffer from PTSD for years, and it broke me. So,
and I feel like this is where that adage comes from. Oh, I actually got to use the word adage.
Which one?
The what doesn't break you makes you stronger.
I hate that.
Going through and experiencing all of this, and I don't think what it means though is, I don't think they're referring to like muscular stronger.
No, it makes your spirit stronger. Yeah, like if I hadn't been through everything I had been through, I wouldn't have the immense amount of wisdom to be able to talk about what I talk about. But I'm done. I'm strong enough, universe. Okay, so enough. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. It's like, stop putting us on repeat loop.
Yeah, I'm
off the ride.
Enough. Thanks.
We got it. You can take me off the ride. No, and I'm just curious, with all your experiences throughout your life that you've done with the paranormal, what do you feel like is one that you want to talk about that left the biggest or left a large impact on you?
Oh, okay. Well, I went into this one house thinking that I was a badass investigator. Didn't protect myself because I thought I was a badass. I was like, oh, I've done this 1,000 times. Went down the hallway and I was like get out. This thing picked me up and threw me 12 feet down the hallway, and I landed on my butt. So, yeah, I'm not as bad as I thought I was. So, yeah, these things can do damage. It blows my mind that, no offense to you, Michael, who's choking. Here, have some more water.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know why you didn't bring water.
I know. Normally, I have like 2 or 3 bottles of water sitting right next to me.
I was going to say that it blows my mind that there's haunted houses are even allowed, but I understand that it's probably evil that wants them to be, thank you. What was I saying?
You were talking about haunted houses that shouldn't be.
Oh, they just shouldn't exist. The scary movies shouldn't exist. All of this is to keep feeding these entities that people like me are dying trying to get off this planet. But yeah, just keep bringing them in. What was I going to say? As far as the being thrown down the hallway part, really know what you're doing when you go into a place and you think that you have a grasp on the paranormal, because there's so much out there that we don't know. There are beings out there that you don't even want to know exist. There are beings out there that exist that nobody's told us about, because it would probably cause chaos. So just be careful. Know yourself, know your energy, put your protection on if you're going to go hunting for stupid. Sorry. I'm not trying to offend you, Michael, on your paranormal investigations. It's fun. It's fun to find out the history, but they've just taken it too far, and like it's gotten too dark. That's all I'll say.
And I take no offense to it, but one thing that I will bring up, and this I was brought awareness to on another show where I was talking with some of the people who were at the time working with the Warren Legacy Foundation. And
Lorraine and Edward Warren?
Yes. And they were getting a call from a mother who was concerned about their son acting strange. And they couldn't get out there right away, but they assured her they would come out. Meanwhile, she has another paranormal team come out, and I don't know who it is, so don't hound me for the name of the team, but they come in, investigate, leave their results, and walk away. And don't follow up. And so this is what led her to call the foundation, and they're like, we'll get there as soon as we can. So the next day, she calls up the foundation and says, you can take me off your list. I don't need anyone to come. And they go, no, ma'am, you don't understand. We can totally help. We can be there tomorrow or the next day. And she goes, no, you don't understand. The team that came to investigate told my son he had 70 demons attached to him and had no hope of getting cleared. So he took his life. And to me, that hits a raw nerve because, one, that paranormal team, I highly doubt would know a true demon if they met one.
Exactly.
Let alone 70 of them attached to one person, which
some people are so full of shit. It makes me so mad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is something I encounter with psychics, with clients who come to me who go to some idiot who thinks because they did ayahuasca twice that they're Captain Psychic Healer. And these people get help from these psychics that aren't psychic. They have a demon, because demons can make you think you're psychic. I'm so done. And you know what I'm really glad about, Michael? I am so glad that the blue kachina is coming, because this means it's the end of the kings and queens. The masks will fall. The false ones are going to be revealed. So
And the beauty of it is they are.
People like that are not going to be able to exist in this new energetic space on this planet as long as I'm alive. It's just, it won't happen. You know, a long time ago, I had this dream. It had to do with Egypt, and I remember this hooded lion or leopard being coming and explaining to me about leopard being black leopard.
Well, Sekhmet is, if I remember correctly, that's the name that came to me. Is the feline? That's the feline goddess of the Egyptians.
So there was this scientist who had been studying some of the writings under the pyramids, and what he deduced was that there was supposed to be this red jewel, and when this red jewel I'm sorry, I'm still numb from my surgery. When this red jewel was placed between the paws of the Sphinx, that all false kings and leaders would fall. Okay, so he was looking for this red jewel. Come to find out, it wasn't a gem at all. It was the dog star Sirius. So Sirius rising on the horizon right between the paws of the Sphinx marks the end of the false leaders. And that happened recently. And now we've got, the blue kachina, and then we have the red kachina. And everybody can go look that up, because that's what 3i Atlas is about. Look up the Hopi prophecy.
And do you want to talk more about the Hopi prophecy that's coming to fruition right now, or appears to be?
Say that again?
Do you want to talk more in depth about the Hopi prophecy that seems to be coming about right now?
Well, we know for a fact that a lot of our history has been rewritten. This world has been inhabited and then stripped, and then inhabited again, and then wiped, and then inhabited again, and then wiped. 3i Atlas, Blue Star Kachina, is a indicator, I guess that's a word I would use, that enough people on the planet have chosen the natural way of love and the natural way of living, that enough people wanted that. And so the kachina comes because there's so much darkness, and there's so much chaos, and there's so much gender confusion, and there's so much corruption, and the original beings that created this heaven. Earth is actually beautiful, beautiful heavenly place, but it was taken over by dark beings. Again, coming back to the dark beings. So as far as the Hopi prophecy, I'm going to try to get this right. The blue kachina heralds that the end times are near. Well, end times meaning, and I'll explain this, end times meaning the end of
an age.
Yeah, the end of an age. But I mean, what this one represents is the end of all of this darkness. It really is. We as humanity have been lied to. We're all under mind control. All of that's about to end.
Yeah. So
When the Kachina comes, we're given a choice. According to the Hopi prophecy, we're given 7 years to choose between love or fear. And I mean, it's really so simple. Good. There are a lot of good people. I mean, anyone you talk to says the whole world is crazy, but there are a lot of good people that are just trying to survive. They want things good for their family. So the star people can always read the planet just like I can. Part of the unified field is knowing everything everywhere going on all at once. But yeah, it's a new world, a new way of life. And then I think after Blue Kachina, according to the Hopi prophecy, comes the red star. The red star is like the purifier. The Kachina is the herald. The red star coming after is the purifier. So the Kachina kind of comes in and says, hey, are you ready? And that's what I'm talking about when I say, know who you are, know your true north, know the difference between what's your thoughts, what's your emotions, and what's coming from outside sources. Because I guarantee 90% of our feelings and thoughts aren't ours. We're all getting hit. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place with this.
Oh no, you're doing fine. And what's kind of interesting is before you mentioned the word heralding, I was saying to myself, I kept hearing the word herald, and I was like, I'm not
Thanks, pull
doing
it out
the
of my head
voice.
next time.
But yeah, and
we
one
just
thing too, I just want to make clear is when we're reading the ancient texts and everything, when they say end times or the end event or
it just means the end of one thing and the beginning of another.
I'm drawing a blank on the biblical term. That's the end time. I
Revelations.
know Revelations and Ragnarok. The interesting thing, especially Ragnarok, because I love if you totally understand Ragnarok and read it fully. And for those who don't know, this is out of Norse mythology.
Because you're
Is
related to them. Michael's related to, oh, what's his name? Ragnar.
I
Loth.
am actually,
Wait,
and
say his name. What's his name? Ragnar Loth.
Ragnar Lothbrok.
Yeah, Ragnar the Viking is Michael Kopf's distant relative. That
Yeah,
is so cool.
but in Norse, when we talk about Ragnarok, it's the death of the gods and the
The
death
false gods.
of a lot of people, but the end of Ragnarok truly is one male, one female enters a tree and respawns the human race. So it's literally an end of an age, beginning of a new age. So there is no end. That's it. Script's over. And
Right.
Apocalypse, like Jasmine E. Mary Hart 0511 said,
Yeah.
Apocalypse, if you take and literally define it, is just the end of what's hidden. It's
Yeah.
revealing what's hidden.
It's just a revelation of everything that was hidden, which is why I'm so curious. Yes. Trees are so much more. Trees are
They are.
conscious. Trees can teach you. Trees taught me everything about the planet I needed to know. Trees can clear you from entities. Trees can help you ground. Trees can work with you. They are amazing healers.
Yeah, but my hope is everyone watching this episode, one thing that they will take to heart is, with everybody talking about the end is coming, there is nothing to fear about it. Don't buy into the script of fear that it's just simply the end of one age, starting another age, like in astrology. And I'm not, you all know me, I'm not an astrologist, but I understand we are at the end of the age of Pisces, beginning the age of Aquarius. So it's the end of one age, beginning of another age.
You should have put that song in. This is the dawning of the age of
I love that song.
Aquarius. I do too.
Fifth Dimension. And I love the fact that the group was called Fifth Dimension that
I didn't
sang
even
that
know
song.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Oh, you got to put that song on.
Oh, I would,
yeah,
but
so,
I'd get so many hits for copyright infringement.
oh, anyways, the Hopi prophecy is basically those who reconnect to the heart, to spirit, to the natural way of love and life are going to be okay. That's what the Kachina is coming to make sure that we're going to be fine. If you choose love, if you choose fear, have fun with that. It's going to be hard.
But just remember that this is the interesting thing about the 7 years. And I loved when I asked somebody about this because, it does raise a really interesting point is if you chose fear, you have 7 years that you can change your mind and decide to go to love. You're not locked in once you
That
make
is
a choice.
exactly true. That's what I was just going to say. Yeah.
And I
So
said to somebody, I said, well, what if you're in the love, but you choose the fear to be with someone? And they go, why on earth would you choose to go downward instead of upward? And I was like, well, love makes you do crazy things. But she said, yeah, you could choose to do that. And hopefully the both of you would choose love in the end and go jump back. But
I have a
yeah,
lot
you
of
can jump back
I
and
have a
forth.
lot of clients who are being put to the test because they're having to choose between their galactic mission and their matrix life that they thought was real, and it's real difficult. It's difficult because you're like, you know what you have to do. You and your husband had a good things at the beginning, but you grew, he didn't. How are you going to make that work? You just gotta, things are the way they are. Sometimes it's not supposed to stay, sometimes you're not supposed to stay with that person. There's
Right.
no rules.
Nope. We're all on a path of discovery, a journey
Yes.
of discovering something new. And I think somebody pointed out it's either every 2,500 or 25,000 years this cycle
26
goes through.
26,000 years, yeah.
So just think, Shakespeare put the curse, they tell us it's a curse upon us of may you always live in interesting times. And I don't view it as a curse anymore. I view it as he was a whistleblower and telling
Oh,
us
really?
interesting times are coming because let's look at the fact that we are about to experience something that happens every 26,000 years.
Not
So
even.
thinking about that average lifespan, even in biblical times, they say it was like 900 years. So this is
1,000 years, yeah.
26,000 years. So that is, we're experiencing something that 27 generations ago experienced. Think
Isn't that
about
crazy
how long
cool?
that is. And that's if we kept to biblical age. Going by
Yeah.
the age now where it's 100 is a pretty fair average age, that is 260 generations.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is not a time where, we have we can go look up a book and go, oh, here's
I'll just wait for the next one to
what they
come.
did. You know,
I'll
we
get
don't
my
have a
together
reference
next
guide.
time.
There was nothing
No.
written down to help us go, oh, here's the key to surviving this, or the
Well,
key to start this.
the indigenous people did write it in caves and in signs, and they knew what to look for. They knew that, and I think they also talk about the blue kachina is the uncle of two brothers. One of the brothers is the guardian of the North Pole. The other brother is the guardian of the South Pole. And the kachina, the uncle, which is a blue star kachina, meets with the two brothers, and they talk about, this is the Hopi prophecy, they talk about fixing the axis of Earth. Now, when I was talking about Three Eye Atlas months ago, I was talking about how it was going to come through and it was going to turn the universe from 440 hertz to back to 432 hertz. That was my words that I used, but that's kind of the Hopi prophecy too. So I think that's something that I carried in my memory, or because I never looked up the Hopi prophecy until after I said that. And I was like, wow, it's very similar. Very, very similar. And they also the Hopi talked about people who were weak in spirit, people who don't believe that there's a soul in here, that they believe they can do whatever they want. They don't have a good sense of right and wrong. They don't have ethics or integrity. Those people, according to the Hopi prophecy, will be going insane. So, and I'm seeing that in the city right now. I'm seeing people that never had any faith or that never chose to be kind or good really having a tough time and projecting anger and projecting just drama right now. So the prophecy's true. Like everything George Cavassalis said was true. Everything that and everything I said and the Hopi prophecies, they all match. And we don't know each other. So I think we're all onto something here.
I agree, and something that's worth thinking about too as we're going through all of this is, we're seeing systems fall and truth being revealed around what's going on. And so the question it will come down to, are you ready to hear? And not only are you ready to hear, but are you open to hear? That's going to be the
What
two
truth? Open to
keys.
hear the truth. Is that what you're saying?
Well, to hear what's going on. And where I'm going with this is, we live in a world where we're full of misinformation. We're full of everybody spewing their own opinions, and we no longer know what's truth and what's not. Our own media, I'm sorry, but I've known since Persian Gulf War sensationalizes everything and doesn't give us facts, to give
Yeah,
us
we're not getting any facts at
stories
this point.
for ratings, and so we can't trust that. And so the guide that I will say to survive and find your truth is to find what resonates with you. And what I mean by that is, if you hear something and it puts you in a state of fear, don't pay
Or it
attention
makes
to
any part of
how
your body contract. Or it
yeah.
makes any part of your body contract, which is your body's way of telling you that's not true. Something's wrong with that. Listen to your body. Sorry, I had to
But
add that.
yeah, and if you hear something that inspires you and lifts you up, that's your body's way of saying, this is a truth for you.
Mm-hmm.
And just be aware and just be cognizant of how things make you react. If you
Feel.
start reacting out of fear, you need to check yourself and see what, when did that start and what are you believing that's not really true? Because nothing should ever put you into fear mode. We're in a time where we're leaving the fear mode to empower ourselves. So that is my hope for everyone, is to take away from this, as well as anything that's unexplained. If it doesn't resonate or it puts you in a bad space,
It's
walk
not your
away
truth.
from it. Don't take it on. You don't have to stand up to it and make it something that it's not. That's not the warrior. And ironically, I just was watching the other night The Way of the Peaceful
The
Warrior
warrior's
movie
way.
again, and
But
his
you have
greatest
a good
truth,
point there.
yeah,
It's very
was
true.
letting go of his personal fears, and then was able to do anything.
Can I say something on that? Oh, by
Yeah.
the way, I'm going to comment on this first. The AI threat that I had talked about a few months ago, it's over. It was cut. So those the AI threat's done. It was taken care of. What was I going to say now? What were you just saying?
We were talking about The Way of the Peaceful Warrior and letting go of the fear and resonating and lifting yourself up and not buying into the fear.
I had a point. I just lost it. Let me get it back.
And well, and I was talking about how in the movie he is fighting himself because his self, he had all these doubts and fears about not being good enough, and once
And
he
that's
realized
just
that,
okay. I remembered. Thank you.
all right.
Thank you. Okay, so earlier this year, I had major surgery. I had 2 tumors removed. It is the good AI, not the bad one.
Yeah.
So the beginning of this year was probably February. I had the tumors removed, but they were like, "You're still septic. You're not going to make it." That's when they found that piece of metal. But when they told me that I wasn't going to make it, something switched inside me and I lost all of my fear. And I got to tell you, that's when I started talking on podcasts, because I was like, I'm going to die anyway. I better get this out now. I had no idea that my mission was to speak and to share what I know at that time. But it was not having anything to lose. Like what I was already going to die. So why would I care if people made fun of me when I share stuff? Why not just share my truth? Why not just get my story out there? And now I'm getting better. Well, I'm still swollen, but that's what losing my fear did. I was able to rise out of this being locked in this prison that the Greys had me in. They had implants in me so badly that no matter what I did, I failed. No matter what I tried to love, I hurt. They had me completely inverted. It's just fear. When you don't have fear, nothing can touch you. It's like even with these negative entities I'm talking about, you don't go up and face them, but I mean, they can read your mind. They can go deep, deep and look for a fear of yours. But because I was dying, I let it all go. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
It
So I
does.
had none.
It's like when you think about the military or agencies where you work with them and they're like, "Oh, you have to sign this non-disclosure under
Yeah.
penalty of you can be killed." So the threat of dying keeps you silent. Well, if you already
Just the
are
opposite.
announced you're gonna die, it's like, well, is it better to go out being sick from this or speak my
Yeah.
truth and they take
I
me
was
out? In
like,
which
you know
case,
what? Because I
either
knew,
way.
because I had that, yeah, I had that programming. If you talk, you'll die. So I'm like, well, I'm dying anyway, so I might as well talk. And sure enough, the information that I have been holding on to helps people.
Yeah. And
Yes,
and
good for you. Good for you. And I bet you're stronger today.
and an interesting thing too is I don't talk about this very often on shows, and so in fact I think this is probably the first time I've ever mentioned it on a show, either mine or somebody else's. But when I was in my early 20s, late teens, I went to talk to someone who was doing some past life regression work, I think it was, and they made a comment to me, you all your lifetimes you have died at the age of 25. And so I thought, okay, so being in my, let's say, 22,
Oh, you were
hearing,
22 when you found that out?
I was like, well, if I'm going to end in 3 years, let's go out with a bang. And I just would do whatever and didn't plan for the future because I was like, it's going to be
Me
over
too.
anyway.
Yeah,
What's the
right?
point? So, and then what's funny is when I turned 24, I was like, oh my God, this is my last year. And so I was, nervous when I turned 25 because I was like, ooh, is it going to be on my birthday?
Yeah, when's
Or
it gonna be?
when is it going to be this year? This is the year. Well, then 25 came and passed, and I turned 26. And I was like, oh, wait, if we go back and we count and we don't say we start at zero age, we start at one,
Oh my God, you made it
then
26.
25 would be 26. And so I was like, maybe that's why I'm still here. This is the year. And then when I turned 27, I was like, you know what?
Think
I think
that
it's safe
lady
to
was
say
wrong.
the prophecy has been broken, and I'm stuck here for a while, apparently. So,
More, were you
but
excited? You were like, yeah, I get it.
actually, what's funny is at that point, I think I really started to embrace my metaphysical side because I
It's something
realized,
when you lose fear,
uh,
when you
yeah,
just
it's like this is all new territory. So it's like I don't have to worry about screwing it up because it's all new.
right.
So,
Right. So I want to tell everyone, live like you got told you're going to die, cuz it's, really live like someone told you you're not going to live. Live your life like every day is your last. Do everything that you want to do. Do everything that lights you up. Don't hurt anybody.
yeah,
But you know what I mean?
don't go
do
committing crimes
what you
thinking.
do what would frighten you. If you live, yeah, it's just it was so liberating.
In other
It was,
words, don't let things hold you back. You
yeah,
start to
exactly.
live life to the fullest, and there. So y'all know I like to go to movies for references. And
We all
I
do. We
just
don't have
gotta,
anything else to use as references.
well, and I think this one moment in this movie is going to totally make sense of what we're talking about, and that is go watch Star Trek Insurgent, I think it's called, or Insurrection. It's the
Insurrection.
Insurrection. And it's the one where they go in the, so make sure you're watching the right one. They go into the briar patch and they find this world where people are living really long because of the radiation in the nebula that they're living in.
Yeah, where she was
Well,
slowed down time and the waterfall was
exactly.
moving.
They've
You can
learned
do
to
that
live in
now.
the
You can do
moment.
that here. But that can be done here and now. In the
Yeah,
time that we're in now, sorry, I'm interrupting you. Time doesn't exist like you thought, like we all thought. 10 minutes can be stretched if you really drew this into 2 hours, or you can put 2 hours into a 10-minute period. Time isn't solid and structured. There's only the now moment. Time doesn't even exist once you get off planet.
right. And so, yeah, I mean, they learn, and they were like, they learned to live in the moment. And they said, well, aren't you afraid of this? And they said, why? In this moment, it's not a reality. And so they all started to do it. And this other race was trying to collect it, to sell it, and profit off of it. And Jordy had his vision restored that he had never had from birth. And he goes, and I love the line where he sits there and says to the captain,
Yeah, when
how
he's
can I
looking at the
live
sunset.
seeing this sunset knowing what it costs these people? And it's like, that to me
Mm,
is a fearless human spirit that sits there and says, yes, I would love to have this, but not at the cost of
not at
somebody
the,
else.
not, oh my God, you got my chills. Yeah.
And so we're going to leave you with that because I just noticed we're actually at an hour and 34 minutes.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me on. I haven't, my website is ericaamoreena.com. I have a new website, Blue Star Kachina, coming out. I have a YouTube channel. I can't remember what it's called.
If you search Erica Amoreena on YouTube, you
Erica
will find it.
Amoreena, and I think it's Blue Star
It is,
Kachina on
it's
YouTube.
Erica Amoreena Blue Star Kachina, I believe
Yeah.
is the
So,
full title.
and I have a lot of new things coming out in 2026. I'm going to be teaching some classes on how to, and I'm also going to be telling my detailed story on my channel. So that'll be interesting. It's for me to be able to heal. I'll tell it as long as YouTube doesn't kick me off.
And we all know, let's be honest, if it does, she'll be calling me saying, I need to tell my story
What
on
should
your
I
show.
use? But yeah, I'm gonna try to do a lot. So pay attention to my channels if you are so inclined. Thank you.
Yes,
And I want
and
to thank you so much, Michael, for being my friend. You're
oh,
amazing.
always. And one last question before we go is, if somebody wants to reach out to you for a reading for help, is that through the website or is that through another means?
EricaAmoreena.com. Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much for coming on to this show because, in full transparency, Eric and I were trying to figure out the differences between the two shows so we didn't cross any boundaries with anybody. And
Yeah, I didn't know this is called energy that surrounds us, and I'm used to being on writing through the unknown, so I had to with a lot.
But
Thank you.
now I can honestly say when she comes on, I can hold my head high with the fact that she has been on both of my shows that I created. So we can bounce back and forth. And so be sure to like and subscribe to this show as well as Writing Through the Unknown because, well, let's be honest, you never know when Erica's popping up
Oh,
because she is actually, I'm going to shamelessly promote,
oh
will be
yes.
back on in a few days.
3 days after we have a visitor in the sky. We're going to be doing a panel Friday night. I'm looking forward to it.
And that'll be on Writing Through the Unknown. So make sure you are
I'll put
following
those on
that.
I'll put both of these on my YouTube channel as well.
Aw, you're so kind.
I know. Thank
And
you.
we do support each other, so you'll see us like posting to each other's YouTubes or back and forth with stuff, and I will shamelessly promote my limited skills that I have helped Erica with her banner on her page, and I actually gave her the inspirational start to her thumbnail that she's going to be using for her personal stuff. And
You're the
so,
one that gave me guts. I mean, before they told me I was going to die, you're like, you can speak, you can do it. Like, you inspired me to speak, but I was too scared. But then when the doctors are all, you're going to die, I'm like, hey, Michael, I'm going to talk.
yeah, she was like, "Are you free next week?" I'm like, no, why?" She goes, "I'm ready." I'm like, "Well, can you give me 2 weeks?" Okay.
I mean, my face was like out to here, but I was ready to talk.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, when she talked about February with the surgeries, I think it was March, she was on my show and she was like, "I'm ready."
Yep.
And we,
And they, that was right after they took a screw out of the deepest part of my skull that had been placed there to prevent me from talking. So I just thank you for all your help, Michael. You're
you're
amazing.
welcome.
You're amazing.
So are you.
Wonder Twin powers.
You guys can kind of see why we call ourselves the Wonder Twins.
Because they're retarded.
Wow. Just so you
No,
know,
no,
we
it's
do
a,
have these conversations.
it's
We
a
do.
joke.
We, we we jokingly did watch the cartoon Super Friends where they were made their appearance and were like, these two
They had special
superheroes
needs.
are the strangest, weirdest superhero
Useless,
duo.
most it was the most useless superheroes ever. I can turn into a bucket of water. I can turn into a bird. They couldn't do a damn thing but put out a forest fire. What else
Well,
was there to do?
well, we would laugh at each other, going like he would say, like turn into a puddle of water. We're like, well, that works if you're there, but how do you transport the
Oh no,
puddle
and
of
then
water?
the sister has to carry his watery self everywhere. It's so dumb,
Oh, and
but it
the
makes me
monkey
laugh.
bleep has to bring the bucket to hold him. And so we're like, and you're like, are like 1,000 miles away from the point of instance. And so she's got to fly this entire distance carrying a bucket of her brother
Yeah.
to go
Or
help the other.
when he turns into like a mile wide sheet of ice and she's just this little eagle that has to carry him to go put out a fire. Anyways,
Yeah, it was like we were watching them and we were just like cracking
but
up. And
when I looked closer at the cartoon, I realized that they are special needs superheroes. So it's just perfect for us.
yeah, we were like, yeah, this is gonna go over well.
Thank you.
We're
I
like
needed that laugh.
we're like Wonder Twins 5.0. We've actually evolved
There you go.
and gotten
Wonder Twins
better.
5.0.
But thank you for coming on to this show and sharing your paranormal experiences and your adventures with us.
Thank you.
And like I said, you never know when she'll be on, so follow along and stay tuned. And with that, I know I said it like probably 10 minutes ago that we were going to go,
We're
but
done
I
now.
assure
We're
you,
really done.
yeah, this is no longer an Irish goodbye. We are literally actually saying goodbye.
You
So
push the button.
thank you, everyone,
Push,
and have a
push.
wonderful holiday season,
See
whichever
you in
holiday you
June
celebrate. And we will see you on this show actually on
on
the
Friday.
23rd for a channeling session. And that'll be the last show of this season. And Friday, Erica will be on a panel for the women of the SSP on Riding Through the Unknown. And thank you all for watching. Thank you all for joining us on this wild and wacky adventure that we had tonight. I was trying to keep it PC.
You
And
can't beat me.
always fun. And so, with that, good night, everyone.